In today's video, we're going to show you how to custom color your hand-tied wax. Now, this is the most important part of the service. This is where you're going to transform those really raw, extension-looking-ish wefts into hair magic. So, custom coloring the wefts is actually going to give everyone that personalized look that they're going for, and it's going to give your extensions a seamless blend. Now, a couple things you want to remember when you're coloring your hand-tied wefts. You want to use a warmer formula with this actual extension hair. The extension hair has a tendency to really absorb and soak in the cooler tones like before the warmer tones. So if you don't use proper formulation on the extensions, they'll actually turn out muddy or even downright greenish looking. So really using the right formula on the extensions is super crucial. And I also love to use permanent hair color. I feel like when the client washes and wears the extensions, it has a tendency to have a little bit longer of a wear. So you're not like having to do a whole color overhaul on the client's extensions when they come back for reapplication. So I'm just gonna give you a quick peek on what I personally use for the extensions. Whatever color line you choose to use is great. You can use the same type, but I'm gonna go ahead and give you a sneak peek on what I use. So for me personally, I love Kevin Murphy hair color. I feel like it just works best for my clients. I really like the results I get. So one of my favorite tones to use for Kevin Murphy is the 7.2. It really turns out beautifully and beigey on blondes. It is just the right cool without being too cool, and it definitely does not turn out warm. This is really great for my blondes. Obviously, every single weft is going to take color differently, so you want to make sure you reformulate every single time you color somebody's hair. I always recommend doing a test swatch. You want to do a test swatch because sometimes the hair is processed differently, so you want to make sure that the hair is going to take the way you think it will. So I will just color one piece from the whole batch, and then if I like the way that turned out, then I'll continue to color the other pieces. If you have the time, that is. I have an assistant, so my assistant does this for me. I also love to use Shades EQ. I use the clear to actually blend the line out with the permanent hair color, and I'll just put a splash of the actual Shades EQ color, whichever color you want. I usually will do a shade lighter than my root color. So if I'm using a 7, I'll use an 8. And then I like using the thicker developer from Shades EQ. The reason I love Shades EQ is it really blends out the line. It's very, very liquidy, so it's easily spread, and it really gives you a really great ombre kind of graduated effect when you combine the two together. So I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that today. So you're gonna need a couple of things for the coloring process, and I'm gonna share that with you. So you're gonna need, obviously, a pair of gloves. You're gonna need color brushes. We use color brushes to actually apply the color, and then you're gonna need a brush to do some dry brushing, and I'm gonna explain that process to you. And then you're gonna need a comb that has wide teeth. You're gonna need some foils, and you're gonna need your wefts. And we are going to start coloring this piece of hair. So we're gonna take a good amount of color, and we're gonna actually go in on an angle to blend this color out. So we're gonna get the top portion really, really well. We're gonna really saturate it. We're gonna hold the weft while we're brushing up. We wanna brush up because we really wanna get the seam in here, and we wanna make sure that there are no light spots, because obviously if you're gonna put this in somebody who has dark hair, you don't want any light spots to show. So we're just brushing up, and then we're gonna go on an angle, and we're gonna actually kind of like blend down and blend up with the color. I'm just gonna hold the top of the weft to hold that in place so it doesn't budge. And we're blending this down on an angle, and when you need to reapply color to your brush, do so. Just wanna make sure there are no hard lines. After we've applied our color, we're gonna take our comb and we're gonna comb down our color. Now this is when we're gonna go in with our second color. This is our Shadesy Q with clear. And we are going to blend out that color, even overlapping a little bit. We're just gonna continue. Now this process actually takes a while. You really wanna make sure everything is really, really blended. So we're gonna go ahead and comb that now. And now I'm actually gonna put another piece of foil in here. You can actually buy regular foil, and by that I mean stuff that you get from the store, and use that as well if you don't wanna use this foil. So now this is our technique that we call dry brushing. Dry brushing is where we actually take a dry brush that has no color on it, and we use it to blend out any lines or any color to get like a nice soft feathered graduation. So I'm gonna show you how to do that now. Dry brushing I think is totally crucial and important in order to get a very graduated look on your wefts. You don't want any really hard lines. You want everything to be soft and flow beautifully. So this is how you do it. The magic happens with the dry brushing. So I'm gonna go in and show you how to do dry brushing. So I literally just take my dry brush and I kind of feather and blend everything down. And that is where we're gonna get that seamless look. You can see this is already starting to process. And you can see how it looks really blended. And then I'm gonna go ahead and give it another comb. And then I'm actually gonna flip my weft over, and we're going to apply and smudge out the color on the other side. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this around. So I literally just flipped it over. So I don't know if you can see this, but there are some dry spots that did not get color on this area. So that's why it's super important that you flip your weft over and that you color the other side as well. So we're gonna do the exact same thing we did on the opposite side. Processing time for the extensions is anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes. I roughly do about 20 minutes. You might want to follow your directions of the manufacturer of the color line that you are using. You have to remember this is real hair, so we should treat it like real hair. I always do the root first, and then I'll tone at the bowl if I'm going to actually do a toner as well. That's pretty simple. With toners, you want to make sure that you watch it, never leave it. The hair does process very quickly, especially the blondes. Well, some hair processes quickly, some doesn't. It depends on which line you decide to use. So some of the lines actually have a silicone coating. Those will take a little bit longer to color or to take the color, so just keep that in mind. This is always a hands-on process. We never put the color on and walk away from the hair. With rooting, maybe you can, but for the most part, until you get some actual experience under your belt, I would really sit and make sure that you're paying attention to how it's processing. The extension hair is very expensive, so you want to make sure that you don't ruin it by actually misjudging the timing or coloring it with the wrong color. If you do by chance happen to make a mistake with the color, you can use some Malibu products. So there is a CPR, and I think there's DDL. Those work beautifully on the extension without actually ruining the integrity of the hair. So if you want to lift some of that color out, you can actually use those two products to do so. The white crystal gel treatment also works pretty good. So if you do make a mistake, you can fix it, but it's better that you start off, doing things the right way and kind of like try not to make any mistakes on somebody's hair that they just purchased. So we're gonna let this process, and then I'm gonna show you the next step. So when you're washing the hair, you should treat the hair just like regular hair. We're gonna shampoo it, and we're gonna condition it, and we're gonna use something really hydrating. and then we're gonna blow dry it. Okay, so this is our finished product. Now we normally will color more than one weft at a time. And when you are coloring them, you can kind of layer them on the foil. I wouldn't recommend doing more than 3 or 4, but I just wanted to show you the blend that we got today with our process. You can see this gorgeous graduation of color that we got. So this is how we color our hand-tied hair, and this is how we get that beautiful blend and that seamless look every single time. So I'm so glad I got to share this coloring experience with you. We do this with, I would say, 75% of all of our custom hand-tied wefts. We also use pre-blended ones, which are great, but we always want to customize each client's service because that's what's going to differentiate you from the other people in the industry, is actually taking the time to really making sure that each client's extension is custom blended for them. And we love doing it this way. We find amazing results, and I'm so glad you took the time to watch this video. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to us, and we would love to answer them for you.